broadcast of Comics, Let's Talk. I'm Kevin Given. I review comic books for two sites, Comic Crusaders and Comics for Sinners. On the Comics for Sinners site, I also have a column called Given to Me. Generally, we talk about my comic book franchise, which I'm kind of on Indie Planet right now, but hope to launch nationally pretty soon. It's Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter. There is a movie in production right now, and I'm showing you a few stills from that movie. There is also an animated trailer I've made. Here's a bit of the animated trailer, which I'm trying to use to sell the concept to, Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, somewhere like that. Also, there's a comic book series. You can find free comic books of Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter digitally on Indie Planet and Drive-Thru Comics. Here are some panels from the latest comic book we're working on, Dracula Rising. The first issue was by Dennis Magnant. He has since moved on to another project that he's passionate about. You can find a free issue of the black and white version of Dracula Rising #1 on Indie Planet and Drive-Thru Comics. Now here are some pages from Dracula Rising #2. We're about 4 pages away from finishing that comic book. It will be out very soon by Rodolfo Ezequiel. And now, let's discuss comic book movies for 2017. And yes, there will be some spoilers. If you haven't seen all of these movies, then you may not want to watch this broadcast until you've seen them. Now, we're not going to look at films that didn't originate in the field of comic books and do not have a current series, such as the Smurfs movie that's out. Nor are we looking at made-for-television movies, even if they had a limited theatrical run, such as The Inhumans. And let's get started. The first comic book movie of the year. This year started off with a bang. The movie was Logan, Hugh Jackman back again, for about 8th or 9th or 10th time, but surprisingly thoughtful superhero action film that defies genre conventions. My review gives it 4 stars. But unfortunately, this was followed in March by Ghost in the Shell. Johansson, a cyborg super soldier who investigates her past. The controversy began before the film was even released, with certain people objecting to Scarlett Johansson cast in the role that is Asian in its origins. Now, the first movie from the MCU was a solid hit. It was Guardians of the Galaxy #2. It came out in April and made over $860 million worldwide. New characters including Ego, Peter's dad, played expertly by Kurt Russell, in a role that balanced comedy and drama in a unique way. Sylvester Stallone was also in it briefly in a role that seemed to hint at further involvement with the MCU.
And who the hell are you? I figured my rugged good looks would make that obvious. My name is Ego. And I'm your dad, Peter.
And I was kind of hoping for a Tango and Cash moment in this movie. Since Ego was shown to be promiscuous, he could have said to Stallone, remember that time I tried to date your sister? A little Tango and Cash moment, but it never happened. It doesn't diminish the movie, it's just, for me, that would have been a little cool thing. And to those of us who enjoyed Tango and Cash. Now, the standout performance came from Michael Rooker. He's an actor I always felt was underused and underrated. Thank goodness the MCU saw his talent and let it shine, if only briefly. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 83% based on 325 reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2's action-packed plot, dazzling visuals, and irreverent humor add up to a sequel that's almost as fun, if not quite as thrillingly fresh, as its predecessor. My review gave it 3.5 stars. And now we come to DC's biggest hit domestically. That, of course, is Wonder Woman. At long last, with 4 films released, DC finally has its first hit with fans and critics alike. As I noted in my review of the film on the Comics for Sinners site, the DCU played it safe and told a simple, by-the-numbers origin story. It was well executed, and for the most part stayed true to the source material. And since this is the first live-action Wonder Woman since that cheesy Linda Carter television series, which I did love, by the way, from the 1970s, fans were eager for this film, and their expectations were met. Before this film, the Hollywood machine was reluctant to have a female lead in a superhero film. Why, you ask? Are they sexist? Are they misogynist? Well, the truth is, They've been trying since 1968 with Jane Fonda in Barbarella. And though it is a cult classic today, it tanked at the box office in 1968 with cheesy effects and kind of a weak story. Not much action, but a lot of scantily clad Jane Fonda. Then in 1984, we had Supergirl with Helen Slater. Also that year, there was Sheena, Queen of the Jungle with Tanya Roberts. Many of you younger folks might remember Tanya as Donna Pinciotti's mother on That 70s Show television series. Interestingly, Sheena was adapted by Marvel Comics. Both movies tanked, but the interesting thing is that makes it the first time that Marvel and DC clashed in the same year on the silver screen. In the years that followed came Red Sonja with Sylvester Stallone's girlfriend, Brigitte Nielsen, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was even in that film, as it was a spin-off of the Conan the Barbarian series. The thing is, for some reason, some legal reasons, Schwarzenegger couldn't play Conan in that movie. I don't understand why, since they were all put out by the Dino De Laurentiis group, but they had to play a different character, and that became confusing to fans, plus the film really wasn't that well made. I'll give it this, it was better than Conan the Destroyer. Then came out Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The movie version was with Kristy Swanson, not to be confused with the television series, which was a hit, that starred Sarah Michelle Gellar. Then there was Lori Petty in Tank Girl, which is a very confusing movie. Even to fans of the comic book, they didn't know what was going on. And again, that's due to studio interference. They didn't get the comic book, so when the director made it like the comic book, they just said, we don't want this, we don't want that, da-da-da-da-da. So it was just kind of a mess through and through. Then there was a low-budget Vampirella movie, and of course we come to Pamela Anderson's Barbed Wire, a film that seems content with just showing us Pamela Anderson's cleavage, thinking that that would bring in box office. But at the time, you can see Pamela Anderson in a bikini every week on Baywatch. So why would you go to a movie just to see Pamela Anderson when she's wearing more clothes than she's wearing on TV? Didn't work. And Angelina Jolie gave us a mild hit in Tomb Raider. It made enough money that it brought us a sequel, but it still didn't do as well as the studio had originally liked. They thought they could improve on it, and the sequel, of course, completely tanked. And then we come to Catwoman. That's right, the film where the star Halle Berry actually showed up at the Razzies and accepted her statue in person.
Halle Berry for Catwoman.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank Warner Brothers. Thank you for putting me in a piece of god-awful movie.
The plot, you ask? Why? Catwoman has to foil a cosmetics company for making bad cosmetics. Now, there's a plot for an action movie. Yeah, and she wasn't even playing Selena Kyle in this. She was playing a character called Patience Phillips. Now, I understand and respect that there can be more than one Catwoman with the way they developed the character. Her origin was not like Selena Kyle's. But, again, it didn't work. Then we come to Jennifer Garner, who reprised her role as Elektra. And I kind of liked that film. I thought the visuals were impressive. The action was decent. It wasn't an epic. It was kind of uneven, just like the film she first played Elektra in, Daredevil. But I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed it. But it still tanked at the box office. It made about the same amount of money as Catwoman, but it had a much better action-oriented plot. And before Wonder Woman, the last attempt at a female lead superhero comic book movie was in 2006 with Uma Thurman, that's right, Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin, and the romantic comedy My Super Ex-Girlfriend. So you can see why the Hollywood machine was reluctant. It wasn't anything based against the character's sex or the character, or because they're bigots, sexist, and misogynist. All the movies we just mentioned, going all the way back to 1968, really didn't do much for female leads in superhero movies. And we also have to consider that the DCU still hadn't had a solid hit, so they were taking a big chance with Wonder Woman. Like we said, it paid off really well. And now, with the tanking of Justice League, it is still the only critical and fan-based hit that they have out of 4 movies. Gal Gadot makes the battle scenes in this and JLA looks easy. She's athletic and moves with the grace of a ballerina. Gal Gadot, is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman made $821 million internationally. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 92% based on 362 reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, thrilling, earnest, and buoyed by Gal Gadot's charismatic performance, Wonder Woman succeeds in spectacular fashion. That was my take on the comic book movies of 2017. If you agree with me or disagree, let me know in the comments section below. If you like my show, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter and are more curious about that franchise, go to Facebook and like the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter page. Until the next show, this is Kevin Given, comic book reviewer for Comics for Sinners and Comic Crusaders. I also have a column on the Comic for Sinners site, which usually discusses my Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter series. Please look it up. Let me know what you think. You can get free digital copies of Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter comics on Indie Planet and Drive-Thru Comics. Check it out. You might like it. If you didn't, it was free. Until next week, this is Kevin Gibbons saying, have a good day and keep reading those comics.